had my first real depression when I was 15, lasted for several months, and then my first mania when I was 16. During the mania, I repainted and recarpeted my room, got rid of my bed because I wasn't using it, and read a book a week, and filled about 3 composition books. I kept a vocab journal. My parents thought this was normal teenage behavior. I got diagnosed when I was 18. I'd been seeing a school social worker at high school, and she finally got to the point where she was like, I can't help you anymore. You need to go see an actual therapist, a psychologist. So I did right before I was about to graduate. So I turned 18, went to see a therapist, and right before I was about to graduate, right before heading on to college, I got the diagnosis of bipolar 2 because it wasn't as bad at that point. It's evolved over time. I now have bipolar 1 mixed with psychotic features, and I have the ultra rapid cycling thing that happens, which is pretty much impossible to treat. So basically, my doctor said I have the worst form she's ever treated, ever. So yeah, it gets worse if it's untreated or mistreated, and long periods, like I was off meds for a couple of years, and that could have caused it, and then just working with meds and it not working out, plus stress, plus lack of sleep, any of that can cause the illness to get worse. So now I have the whole psychotic features part and the ultra rapid cycling, which I didn't have before. And bipolar 2, which is what I started with, was no real manias, like not the like crazy stuff, and more depression, and it was just like lower, not as low lows and not as high highs. And now I have the complete psychotic highs and the complete suicidal lows, and I can switch between them multiple times a day. I deal with the issue pretty much daily of whether or not I want to take my meds. No, I don't want to take them. I don't like feeling sedated. I don't like even that I owe my life to medication. But I know what the results are when I don't take them. I don't always know how I'm feeling until I put it to words. And then once I've articulated it on paper, then I'm like, oh, okay. And then it's like somehow by giving it a linguistic shape, I can begin to move on from there. And like I said, sometimes I'm not even aware of what's going on inside of me until I start to write. It's almost like an unconscious thing. I start to write and then it comes out. And I heal through it. Like I spent an entire quarter writing my way through a big breakup, and I'm so not where I was. And writing about my ups and downs and everything. Like my eval said that my poetic voice was a passionate romp through my emotional inner landscape, and that I find language for huge emotional events. That was my eval, so evergreen.
So on April 27th, the in-class writing assignment was to write something crazy. I could do that. The poem is called Are You Upside? Recollections of a Psychotic Mania. There was a 2-week period where I was pretty psychotic, including 2 hours where I had a definite psychotic break. Wacko, according to my therapist, rather charming in fact. And I just strung together all that I remembered, and this is the result. I crack the code, I understand he speaks in iambic pentameter. I run to my refrigerator and fall on my knees. I dub thee Puck. I recite verse back to him, though it isn't that from which his name is derived. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burning, cauldron bubble. I get up and dance, spinning, falling over onto the coffee table. I love that table. I offer to translate the ooh, grr, wah, yee noises from my roommate, so she can hear the poetry Puck is speaking to me. Eyes wide, she declines. Take a pill, brain is in flight again. I've got red shoes on, is that why? Go outside, smoke a cigarette, my anchor. Tomorrow, fool, I say gravely, pointing at the moon peeking through the pubescent sort of almost maybe spring trees. She tells me I'm channeling Native American spirits. I must have picked them up in Yelm. Up and up and up and up, and I'm off, flying, soaring, sailing outside of space, time, reality, meaning, consciousness even. Freedom, don't tell me I'm sick. I sing loudly, dance wildly till I collapse, dizzy, exhausted. Take more pills. I can't settle, sleep won't come. Where are you, Mr. Tambourine Man? Why won't you play a song for me? I don't understand. How did this happen? I see my doctor tomorrow. Oh, that won't be good. And I think I'm levitating now. Gotta bring myself in for a landing, unplug this sick winged brain all lit up like lake fair, neurons firing like the grand finale of some epic fireworks display. No amount of meds can touch me now. I've gone too far, flown too high. And why would I want to come down anyway? Everything is making sense. All of it. The whole universe. I see the signs everywhere I look. I'm tapped into something. I read my sun poem to the sun and it came out, burst through those clouds like I knew it would. My words made it happen. What power, what invincibility, what profound knowledge and understanding I contain. I feel all, hear all, see all, sense all, and all is one. Are you upside the sign flashes? Yes, I believe I am. People need to talk openly about having a mental illness because it's no different than having like diabetes or something. We don't be like, oh my god, they have diabetes. Like, shh, don't talk about that. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's not like I did this to myself. And no, I was born with a genetic, biological, chemical imbalance. I take meds and I'm being treated for it just the way somebody with diabetes would be treated. And if we don't talk about it, if we don't bring it out into the open, the stigma we'll just like banish the mentally ill to like psych wards and worse. But if we start talking about it, it just becomes like part of the human condition, and we start to understand and accept, and then we can love and not just judge. And so I'm very, very open. I'm very outspoken about it. Actually, I think we all need to talk about it. I think it's our like obligation, but not everybody feels the same way I do. I actually haven't been suicidal since I was hospitalized in 2008. I haven't even gone there, so this was really shocking to me. I got to the point where I sat at the edge of my bed with all 90 Klonopin and 90 promethazine in my hand, suicide note on the floor, and I was done. All I could think about was ending it. Like, okay, do I have enough water? Do I have enough pills? This should do it. See, when I'm in that place, when I'm that down, death seems the only way I'll ever be free of this curse, ever. And I don't usually think of it in terms of a curse. When I'm that down, yeah, it's a curse. It was a very low-key party, which is all I could handle. They made hapia cake for me, or like some mainland version of it. And right after that, they put me in the middle of the room, and they all prayed for me and prophesied and gave me prophetic words. And I knew God was talking to me, and it was just like, okay, I can make it. After that, like somehow, like the spell would be broken. And then the next morning, I go to church. And I got up to give a prophetic word or something, and I just mentioned yesterday was my birthday, and and I think I was talking about love. And Kate, my pastor, jumped up and said, I didn't know it was your birthday. She slips me some money and says, I want you to go buy something nice. And I'm like, you didn't even know we have no money. So she decides, right before church is going to be over, she goes, I don't want anybody to leave. Kim, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. I want you to sit over there. And I don't want anybody in this church leaving until you go over and bless Kim in some way, whether it's financially or with a prophetic word or an encouragement or a prayer. Whatever it is you have to give her, you bless her. I don't want one of you to leave in this building until you go bless her. And every single person in that church, like the second guy who came up to me was homeless and obviously mentally ill. He usually sits in church and just kind of plays with his socks and mumbles to himself. And he was the second person came up to me, and he was just kind of mumbling, and he was like, I know what it's like to fight for your mind, but you gotta keep fighting, and you're amazing, and this place is amazing, and everybody loves you, and you're loved, and so you just gotta keep fighting. And that was all he said, but it meant the world to me. And so everybody, one by one, came up. I left with over $100, which was after people had already given to the church, and we're a poor church. I left with over $100, and the whole urge to die, gone, just totally gone. So in the end, it was love that completely broke the chains around me that death found. It was a pretty powerful moment, and they didn't know. Kate had no. I had to tell her later, like, I've been suicidal, and that was what brought an end to it. She had no idea. She had no idea that she was actually fighting for my life and doing that. But she felt moved by God to like command everybody to bless me, and they all did. Whatever, it was just beautiful.
star. Wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like a lemon drops. High above the chimney top, that's where